Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do wind simulation and rumble pedals on a folding cockpit, folding wheel stand. I've already done something similar on my Playseat Trophy, which is my main rig. And then I've got a foldable rig that hooks up to a PlayStation with a G29 wheel. It's a little more budget-friendly rig. But we're going to do some of those same haptics using Simhub, and let's dig into it. First thing I wanted to do is kind of mock this up and see what angle is going to work. And after playing around, I tried this, I tried this, I tried underneath. What I came up with is where I taped it off. This angle I think is going to work well. It will not hit me directly in the face. It's kind of hitting the hands, but it really kind of, this line here is kind of where the airflow actually comes out. So I used some dual-sided 3M tape. Here is the actual fan number. So this was just came out of a parts bin. So the next step is going to be wiring. So we'll get rid of this blue wire, and we're going to need to extend the positive and negative, and we'll do that on both these guys. All right, first thing I'm going to do is get that blue. Get that blue wire out of there. So let's see if we can do. Just going to try to pull away the solder. Hey, that worked. This might be too hot. All right. Okay, blue wire gone. We've got some leftover wire from previous projects here, so we're going to use that to extend it. Definitely thicker gauge, but it'll work. Okay, get some heat shrink. Prep this. 18 seems about right. All right, and then we'll tin these and extend. So we're gonna need to do some thin for each. In fact, we're gonna just cut this in half. This terrible tool that's not really working. Okay, here we go. That should be plenty. All right. Actually, I'm not going to tin these. We're just going to do this. Let's see, positive here. We're going to need another thicker one. We'll do this. Get it over all of them. Okay. So now let's go positive. Twist those guys together. There we go. And then we'll get negative. There's some tiny wires to deal with. Okay, here we go. A little solder on this guy. There. Let's put that over this. And I did it too soon. There we go. So those are both protected. Gonna get some heat on there. Get those sealed. Okay. Let that cool for a second. We'll bring in that wider one. Hopefully we get over all this. Sort of. We're gonna do one more over this too. It's a little tight. So let's do this. And then we're gonna go one thicker one. Come at it from this side. Just make sure we got the whole thing sealed and protected. There we go. Should fit over all of it. There we go. That looks much better. And then we'll get some heat on here. And I think that's going to do a very good job of sealing and protecting. I mean, there's no weather to worry about with this. It's all indoors, but nice solid connection here. Plenty of wire. Here we go. One fan done. We'll do the other one off camera. Okay, next we're going to get this permanently mounted right there. So I'm going to take some of this 3M foam tape and we're going to apply it on the Logitech G29 first. Let's get another one. So when I first mocked this up, thought this would be a good temporary way to mount these fans, but it seems to hold really well. We're gonna get it on there like that. Now, who doesn't love the satisfaction of peeling this off? Stand by. It's coming, I promise. There we go. I use this mounting tape for all kinds of stuff. It's pretty handy. Okay. Now we're going to get that lined up. A little pressure. Make sure that's not going anywhere. And that's permanently installed. Get the other side on and keep this thing rolling. I'll do a little cable management here. Bring these over and join that little bundle. Let's go from this side. Keep those in there. Hook this little tiny zip tie. There we go. You guys call them zip ties? Or do you call them cable ties or some other, you know, Kleenex versus facial tissue? Do you like to clip your zip ties like that? Or do you get in there and snip them? Me, I prefer that twist off method. I feel like it's cleaner. As long as your zip ties aren't super brittle, then you just start breaking them off. Okay, let's do that. Keep this going. I'm gonna leave the old ones on there. Because why not? Alright. This might be a little tedious. Why don't I just carry on with this, and we'll come back when I have this a little further along. Quick word on cable management. So I've got another video where I basically would drilled holes in this frame and fished all the wiring through here. This rig and this tubing is just not big enough for me to attempt that. Not only is it a small cavity to try to get in, I just felt like this thin steel narrow tube, I didn't want to drill holes and compromise the integrity, so we're going to keep this on the outside this time. Okay, I've got this thing laying down. Just wanted to kind of walk through here real quick, show you the cable management. I did remove some of the older zip ties and tried to get this clean. So those are the fan wires that will hook up to the Arduino and the motor shield in a minute. I redid the USB cable, so this is the one that will go to the PS4/PS5. That's the power for the Logitech. So let's get moving on mounting the Arduino and the motor shield right about there. Some of the parts we don't need here. Another parts bin freebie, power supply. We've got the Arduino Uno, Amazon warehouse deal. And we've got the Adafruit motor shield, which you can maybe see right there, motor shield V2.3. The header's on it, Adafruit. That's going to go on the Arduino Uno. And I've got a USB extension that's got dual USB, so I'm going to use that to do the knob sound audio interface will go on one, and the Arduino Uno will go on the other, and then that will go to the Simhub computer. And then a couple of USB cables, so that's going to be for the knob sound audio interface. That is going to be for the Arduino Uno. And then eventually we'll get to these guys, probably in another video. Rumble motors that will go on the brake pedal and the accelerator. We'll get to that one. To mount the Arduino Uno, I think I'm just going to use more of that 3M tape and do something like this, which mimics my main rig. And basically these two guys just kind of sandwich together and become one unit. Snap that in, Make sure all those pins are lined up. Beautiful. So I think we're gonna do something like this, and then we're gonna run the USB cable into here, and then maybe through here. We can make that work. Something like that. Maybe we'll do something like this, run that down there. Then the USB cable for the knob sound interface slash power amp. It's gonna plug into there, and we'll hide all of this USB cable underneath. And then I think what I'm gonna do is get another one of these type connectors, a male and female, and we'll have a little connector hanging off here for the power for this guy. But I'm also still gonna need power for this. So not exactly sure how I'm gonna clean all that up, but we'll figure it out. But let's get this mounted, and USB cables and this USB extension. To mount this, let's get this out of the way for now. I think we're gonna go right there. We're gonna use more of this 3M foam tape. I just need to make sure I get all these pins covered. I do not want them to stick out and end up grounding out on here. So all the pins are gonna get this. If not for gluing it down, just to protect. In fact, I'm gonna leave the plastic on that one. I want a nice long one here. See these big pins here. Make sure. I think that'll work. We're not gonna use that. Not using that power for the Arduino. The Arduino will be USB bus powered, but this is going to take power from this to run to the fans and eventually the rumble motors too. So let's get this off. I don't know, anyone got a tip on getting this off quicker and easier? All right, let's put that, we're gonna off center just to help with the cable management. There we go. All right, so let's get our power cable situated here. Back these out, and we got positive on the left. There we go. Can't see. Negative on the right. Lock that down. Okay. Let's just route that cable underneath-ish. Cool. Next, I'm gonna, off camera, turn this into a full cable that provides power to the Arduino. Next, we're gonna route these guys underneath, and we're gonna pop up over through here. These again are the these are the fans themselves. So how this works is I fish this through in this one. Okay. So we've got the Arduino circuit board is on the bottom. That's this guy. This communicates, it'll get plugged in via USB to the Simhub computer. So Simhub is going to send this instructions to control the voltage to the fans. This board on top, this motor shield board, is taking DC power input into here, coming in here, and then it's controlling the voltage that goes through these outputs. So M1, M2, M3, M4 motors. So we're gonna have motor, which is the fan, 1, motor 2, the other fan, left, right fans. And then eventually we'll have rumble pedal on M3 and M4. So all the voltage comes in through here. Arduino controls this board and tells it how much voltage to output. So this is the input voltage, this is the output voltage, and that controls the speed of the motors. Okay, so next, now that we've got these coming up here, I'm going to leave a little extra. So we've got some strain relief, we'll do some cable management, and then we're going to take this wire cutter and we'll make sure we leave a little extra. I just don't want a big mess underneath. That can go. And I'm also not going to care so much about right and left at this point. It's easy enough here to be able to just swap them. So we're going to cut these guys and we'll get ready to wire them in. I'm going to split those. Again, I think this is an 18 gauge wire. That seems to be working pretty well to strip. Get that out of there. Get these. Man, this is an old wire stripper, and the technology has advanced where you've got these wire strippers that just kind of automatically, very quickly do it. And that would be nice to have. I don't know, any of you guys old school like this and still have tools from 30, 40 years ago that you just sort of use by default because you don't really think about it too much? Okay, so on the rumble pedals, the polarity actually does not matter because they're just going to spin. On the fans, they do matter. So positive is the striped wire, which goes to the outside. And where'd it go? So we're going to back this one out. I've got way too much copper on there. Let's just cut some of that off. Of course. And there we go. Lock that down. Back out the negative terminal. Feed that in. I don't care if a little copper is showing, I just don't want 1/4 of an inch of copper. Let's see, how are we doing on these? These are a little long. I'm gonna trim these down a little bit too. I should have just done it to the right length in the first place, but you know, you get distracted when you're shooting video and doing all this stuff on your own all at once. Okay, get that twisted in, cleaned it up. That's our positive. Right. Back the screw out. Feed it in. Make sure it's actually getting in there. That's not, because I have some garbage looking twists on there. Still not. Back it out a little more. Hard to see where the actual opening is on there. You know what? Let's do this the other way. We have easier access to the negative terminal anyway. There we go. That went in nice. Lock her down. Back this out. Make sure we get it all the way open. There. Now it's in. There we go. Sweet. So we're gonna get some of these cables cleaned up here. This guy goes away. And yeah, we're real close now. And time for a little cable management here. So let's just pull this out of the way for now. I do want that to come out over the top. That I think is good. We've got more These are the new fan cables that I just put in. And let's see if that one will do it. That should do it. Let's go ahead and break that one off. Put the new one in. So we can get these all nice and clean. Got a little strain relief. Kind of shift them to the bottom, keep them a little bit out of sight. Trying to get those all the same length there. It's just a tricky angle, but yeah, we've got that extra cable in there. Okay. Keep that nice and tight. And then we're gonna have to, oh, that's right. So this is my cushion from a previous video where this, when I added the transducers, this pedal tray was rattling on here. So I'm gonna keep that, and we're just gonna bust this one. Actually, no, I can't bust that one. How are we gonna do this? Because these have to come up, and I need some strain relief just for these cables. So let's test. Yeah, we got a few things that are, all right, let's see. Yeah, so that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to bust this off. And let's see. I even no. All right, well, that's a problem. All right, let's rethink how I can get that over there. Yeah, I might have prematurely cut these here. I think I need a lot more cable on that. Well, guess it's back to the drawing board with those. All right, I think I got a solution. These are the fans. We're gonna go like this, come all the way back, follow those other wires, and then come back from this side. So I need to zip tie these in. I think I have barely enough. I might have to move the Arduino board to make this work. Hopefully not. Let's get this zip tie on here. Secure this guy. Running that in from that side. Yeah, that was just a impatient mistake on my part to not check clearance when folding your folding rig. Seems like something you would want to make sure you get covered, right? Okay. I did pull all the USB cables out of the way for now. Do that separately. I think I can get this into here, following that other one, and twist this guy out of the way. All right, so feed the fans back up through here, and then hopefully we still got enough room. What I'm gonna do is maximum stretch is in this position. And so if I got enough room here, which I barely do, cool. All right, so we're gonna have to redo these. No big deal. Okay, do that in a second. Okay, that looks good. Really, last thing to manage is gonna be USB. Let's get this over here. Okay, I think we're in pretty good shape now. Speakers are in. And just gotta figure out a clean way. Probably gonna put this like back here or something. Something like this. Let's see. Do a little more. So we're gonna do maybe something like this. That should give me plenty to get to the Simhub computer. And then if we can figure out a way here, if I can zip tie through there, that actually looks pretty promising here. It's hard to manage all this stuff with only two hands. Okay, come on, get in here. I like the bend the zip tie when you need to feed it through. You put a little kink in it like that. And usually that'll let you grab it. Sometimes you need a bigger kink. So let's just hook it like that. Zip tie through. We're going to keep it fairly clean, but not too worried because this is all going to be underneath. That snap is this ratchet for the folding function. And now that I've got another hand free, this makes this easier. Feed that through. That tied down. Not super pretty, but this is all underneath, so not too bad. Not too concerned. Get that off. Pull this guy tight. Get the zip tie remnants out of the way. Okay, so this is, fold it and fold it. That's the underside now of the pedal board. Let's pick this up. Good look at it. And that's the top of it. So it's looking a little, I don't know, sci-fi-ish with all of our extra stuff on here, but that'll be power adapter for WinSim and Rumble pedals. This is Logitech USB, Logitech power, so those are together. And then need to zip tie this somewhere too. Hold on. I didn't really like that. We don't want that getting crushed, so I'll probably do something like that. Maybe I need to look at that. Maybe bringing it up through here makes more sense so that it's more along those lines. So yeah, let's find a way to fasten that under there. And I think we're good to go. So the way this folds is lift that up. Yeah, looks good. I think we're just going to run with that for now. Probably going to come up with other ideas to clean this up later, but completely folds. Just got to be aware of where my cables are. Cool. Last thing to do is the rumble motors. We're going to be tying these rumble motors, which I scavenged from some broken PS4 controllers. I think I bought a lot of 4 of them on eBay just to pull parts out of, mostly for the rumble motors, but I also did use like a little daughter board on there to create a basically a small audio interface to work on my gaming PC when I was messing around with iRacing. But anyway, I could have printed some sort of a 3D printed bracket for these, but I really just wanted to keep this super simple, so I'm using the single zip tie method, which is it's not really an established method, just something I did. And just ran one zip tie around the thing. I believe I did put a little bit of 3M two-sided foam tape to also help just kind of hold it in place, and then pull back to tighten the zip tie with that pliers, and then I like to twist it off. I think I've asked this before, whether you guys like to, are you twist off guys, or you snip off the end? Let me know down in the comments there. So accelerator is done, and moving on to the brake pedal, same thing here. just it's just a little tedious, and you're trying to hold the motor. You really kind of need three hands to do this, but I found that getting the zip tie to click a couple of times to create that circle and then holding it in place, holding the rumble motor in place, that worked pretty well. Looks like we've got plenty of wire on there. And then once again, pull it back with the pliers, nice and tight. You can almost feel it. And then twist that guy off. Nice and clean, usually, unless your hand slipped, your grip slipped, and you let the pliers come back. Then you create a nice little super sharp, pointy, jagged plastic piece that you can scrape on your arm or your leg or all kinds of stuff. Okay, wiring. This is pretty straightforward. They just need to go to outputs 3 and 4 on the Arduino Uno motor shield board. So if I didn't cover this really well earlier, the motor shield is a board that attaches to the Arduino Uno. The motor shield takes its instruction from the Arduino Uno, and then the motor shield is controlling the voltage. So it's got voltage input coming in from a power supply, and then it has 4 separate outputs so that the Arduino Uno can tell every single output, all 4 outputs, to do something different if you want. And if you got really crazy, you could actually stack multiple motor shields. I have not messed around with that. There's some heat shrink just to give a little extra protection there. But that's really where the magic's happening is, I mean, I guess it's happening throughout all these components. You really need them all, but the way this all works, I'll cover it again in case I did already, I'll cover it again. The console, the PS4 or PS5 running Gran Turismo 7 is broadcasting game data. It's broadcasting the telemetry. So your car's speed, the throttle position, gravitational forces, brake forces, is ABS kicking in, all of these different things, whether you're running over a rumble strip for impact, road impacts, all these things are going on. The game is constantly broadcasting it on your network. So what you do is you install Simhub on a Windows PC, or in my case, a Mac running Windows. And then Simhub is going to listen for that telemetry data, and then you can decide what you want Simhub to do with it. So as Simhub receives all that information, you set up different effects. Those effects then tell your different devices what to do. So if you've got transducers, it can have your transducers make noise at a certain frequency, at a certain volume. And that's how you kind of tailor this thing so you can really do different effects for different things. So for example, gear shift. I have the gear shift is on both of my transducers, and it's at I think maybe 50 hertz and at a certain volume. So every time I gear shift up or down, I get this thud that happens through those transducers. So I also have road impact, I think, and road texture, something like that. So basically, if I drive over a rumble strip on the right side, I drive the right side of the car over a rumble strip, the right transducer is going to interpret that, is going to vibrate because Gran Turismo sent the data on the network, Simhub received it, told the effect what to do, and made the transducer do something. The fans, they spin up according to the speed in the game. So once you kind of dig into this and play around with it, it starts to make a lot more sense. And once it makes more sense, then you can really tailor the effects however you want them. Because you might find that some effects don't really do anything for you or give you any sort of feedback that either makes the game more enjoyable or valuable tactile information for when you're sim racing. So all that's really left to do here is wrap up the final terminations to the Arduino motor shield. It's a little tight in there, and I've got this little tiny flathead screwdriver and trying to hold the wires in there and get it all tightened down, but we're pretty much there. And then we can fire this rig up, connect to Simhub, and first of all make sure everything works, and then we can dial in effects. So I've got USB and power supply hooked up now, and you can see these motors turning. I am using Simhub and using the test function there just to make sure everything works. Then I jumped onto the rig, jumped into Gran Turismo 7 here on my PS4 Pro. And now that we are in game, here's an overhead shot, and if you look closely at those rumble motors, as soon as I get in the rig here and actually get moving here, you'll see those things start to spin. So I know that I've got it actually working within the game. Then it's a matter of dialing in the settings of that effect within Simhub, and really you've got kind of the strength that's of the voltage going to the rumble motors, and then there's some threshold settings and gamma curve that you can mess around with. I can't really explain those all that well because I don't really know exactly what they mean, but I just kind of get in there and mess around with it. I will say that in Gran Turismo 7, the braking effect, the ABS or brake lockup effect, is not great. The accelerator traction loss works better. Maybe it's something that'll get better within Gran Turismo, but hey, at least it works. So hope you dug this video. I've got plenty more on my channel and more coming on the way. Don't forget to hit that like, and subscribing would be awesome. I'm currently running at like 1% of views are from subscribers, which is pretty wild. But either way, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.